I'm delighted today to be here with Shelley Swanston, who is the Business Services Representative for the Workforce Development Board, is that, for San Bernardino County. Thank you very much, Shelley, for being with us today. And I know that the county has a lot of exciting and innovative programs that are out there for business, and I think
Oh,
it's
yeah,
very useful for an economic development professional to be
absolutely.
aware of what these services are that you offer. So, if I may, I'd like to start off with the on-job training programs that you have for businesses.
Oh, sure. Okay, the on-the-job training programs are a partnership between the County of San Bernardino, the employers in the County of San Bernardino, and then job seekers as well. And how that works is the county uses us to fill their, or pardon me, the companies use us to fill their jobs. So we post their jobs, we screen candidates, and we find the right person for the job. And the company gets to pick. We don't just hand them one person. The company gets to pick who they want. And with that, if they agree to hire that person, we reimburse 50% of the employee's wages while they train, which is typically like 90-day period. Sometimes if the skills gap is large, then we can go up to like 6 months of a 50% wage reimbursement. And so it's part of our funding that we decided in order to get people jobs, we needed to get some of the money to the people who actually hire. And that's when we started the on-the-job training, is to get money to the businesses who actually hire the people. And
So,
it's worked out pretty well.
so that's pretty lucrative for an employer
Absolutely.
because he's having half his employee
Hmm.
wages then paid for a period of 3 months.
Yep,
Um,
absolutely. And if you have one or two, or if you have three people on, or three employees on an on-the-job training contract, that's $15,000 back into your payroll, which is a huge, huge dent for a lot of the smaller businesses, well as the larger businesses. But
that's a pretty significant
it
amount
is.
then.
It can add up pretty fast.
Um, is the business working with you? Is it a complicated process or is it
No,
relatively
no.
simple?
Simple process. Actually, the contract goes with the individual. So it's not, the company doesn't have to apply for a contract. That it's an individual on the job training plan, which is what's set in place. And what that is, the contracts follows the job seeker. So basically, instead of paying for that job seeker to go to a trade school, like welding school, we just pay the employer to train them. And so it's like a 4-page contract, two initials, one signature, and the reimbursement goes on a monthly basis. So at the end of every calendar month, they turn in an invoice, and we reimburse on the monthly basis. And if that employee doesn't work out, if it, like any employee, you never know what you're going to get until they
Right.
get there. So if that employee doesn't work out, they're not held by the contract. They can stop that employment and start over. So we just ask that if they, make it all the way through their training and they're good employees, that they don't let them go just because the money's not there.
Right.
So
Let the employee go
yeah,
and then
and then
start
try to
all
get a
over
new one.
again with a
Yeah,
new one.
yeah. We
Yeah.
start recognizing that pattern and then we
Uh-huh.
stop it.
Yeah, yeah. Good. Um, so are the funds coming from for this program of reimbursement?
We have a couple of funding streams. All of our funds are federally funded, so we're not locally funded, which in San Bernardino County is tough.
Right.
So we're federally funded through the Department of Labor for the most part, and then we have some specialty grants that we apply for, and we have our grant writers apply for. And one of them recently was our Jobs Driven, and they're called National Emergency Grants. NEG is what we call them, National Emergency Grants. And those are for areas with high unemployment or high poverty levels, and the government, grants us that money to try to employ the population. And because San Bernardino County is so vast, we usually qualify for everything because we have a lot of space. So the population is so varied, we get to justify it.
It's quite sweet actually, than having federal funds because think back 10 years ago, the incentives, the enterprise zones, the
Yes,
redevelopment agencies, all of those
yes,
were state tax dollars, and
yes, and
they've
we
all
lost them.
gone
Yes,
away.
yeah, I was very upset. I was,
So now at least we have some access to federal funds
yes,
that
yes,
we're using. So
yes.
let's,
My area was San Bernardino, and I had an enterprise zone,
uh-huh.
and it was very disheartening to my employers that used it. It was worth millions of dollars, and we just lost it.
Yeah, we
So
shared an enterprise zone because it
yes,
was the
yes,
San Bernardino Valley
that's
Enterprise
right,
Zone.
that's right.
County of San Bernardino, City of San
City,
Bernardino,
yep,
and a bit of Colton,
yep,
right?
yep.
Oh, okay. Well, moving on. There are other services that you provide to businesses, and these are all at no cost, I'm
Absolutely
taking.
nothing we do costs
Uh,
an employer anything.
we touched about the consultant services that you have
Yes,
available.
we have consulting services through what we call our rapid response funding, which is funding again from the government that allows us to assist companies who are getting ready to lay off, who are, work is slow and it won't pick up, and even up into companies that are stagnant, that are ready to grow but aren't able to grow for whatever reasons. And so part of that funding we have opted to use, we contract with consultants in various forms. We have lean manufacturing consultants, marketing consultants, streamlining consultants. We have, network technology type of consultants, and consultants that can do um, smaller businesses as well. And what that does is we provide the funding for that consultant, and then that consultant goes into that company and works with that company alone. And then we're kept abreast on the progress. And our goal is through these fundings to save the jobs that are there and to create more jobs within the company. And that's where the justification of spending the funds are is, one, the jobs are saved, but two, trying to create jobs. And through growth in a company, we can create jobs. So it comes, each consultant spends, well, it depends on the company and how much they need, but this is not like a one-time, let me sit with you for a day. This is months of work that a
Right.
consultant will do with a company, and as deep as that company wants to go into their restructuring, so to speak, or their marketing materials or whatever.
So
It's
if
pretty
a
good.
company's upgrading to a new system, or maybe it's legislated to go because of environmental issues or whatever
Yes.
from this system to that system, and they need to change over, and they don't know what to do, you're providing the consultants that would go in and then
Absolutely.
assist them with this?
Yes, we have. In fact, that brings us to another program that we have. But yes, so it's not just new or improved. It's, for instance, we had a company, it's a manufacturing company. 99% of the workers were Hispanic and Spanish speaking only. And new management took over, and they needed them to be able to communicate in like a work English. And so instead of using a consulting service, we brought in our customized training, and that is like an incumbent worker training where we will spend dollars to train that whole staff on either a new machinery or new products or whatever it would take to if those people were going to lose their jobs because they did not have that training.
Huh.
And so, as in the Spanish speaking one, the ETP funding from a lot of the community colleges, they come in and they set up a whole training structure, and the county picks up half of that cost. It's about the same. It's like a 50% cost, and then that company was able to train their staff and their leadership in at least English speaking work English or whatever it was called.
Spanglish.
Yeah, so work related English.
Yes.
So the employee got the benefit of one, learning work related English, and the company got the benefit of being able to keep the employees that were already there and knew their job because they could communicate effectively with the management. So the customized training or the incumbent worker training is also a part of something we do to help the company. So it's not just the consulting services. The consultants, not only will they help them do, with new product, the consultants can work with what that company has. They don't have to have new coming in. They will work with what they've got and make it as efficient as possible. So basically, we have a little bit of money for anything a company would need to stay in business, to be able to hire, with the exception of loans. We don't have startup loans, but we have plenty of resources to, plenty of contacts to resources who do have that information, like the small business associations and the Women's Business Center of the Inland Empire, things like that, that would be able to help a company set up for a business plan and financing and things like that. So we have, not only do we have money for the small businesses and the big businesses in our county, we have a plethora of resources. I mean, and that's our job. The business services unit, so to speak, is our job is basically to know people, and to connect people, and that's what we do. We are like the happy liaison of the county. So we're one of the only departments that don't charge them or bill them or fine them. So, so we try to, we try to be able to provide them with as much help as possible to make their business as much of a success.
We're sitting in a rather beautiful looking training room
Mhm.
here. What happens in this room?
This is actually our Workforce Development Board room, and so we are governed by the Workforce Development
Okay.
Board, and they are, it's a volunteer board made up by uh, leadership in businesses. So these are not paid to be here. These are business owners within our community,
Uh-huh.
large businesses, as well as education, and a couple of unions as well. And they govern how we spend our money, what money goes to businesses, what money goes to job seekers. And then we also provide, we use this room for small business workshops. So the workshops, again, they are funded by us and free for the employer. And we have a whole human resource workshop series, which is like labor law updates. We've had how to do an employee handbook, new hour and wage. So how to keep yourself out of trouble. Those kinds of things. And then we also have a marketing workshop series, which right now we're focusing on social media and how the small employers can get themselves out and get people to their web page to create sales or relationships through social media to their website. And those have been well attended. So we have a lot of small businesses just anxious to make themselves better, but just haven't had the
Yeah,
means to do it yet.
get the resources,
Yeah.
especially if you're a smaller business and you
Right.
don't have
Right.
these legal departments and
Right. No
HR
human resource.
departments and this sort
Oh,
of
that's
thing.
another thing we have. We have a human resource hotline that we provide. We pay the California Employers Association to man a hotline just for the businesses in San Bernardino County. And that it's a 1-800 number. They call, they have to identify the name of their business, but it's any human resource question they have, whether it's scheduling 410s as opposed to a 40,
Yes.
5/8s,
Uh-huh.
or if they have hiring questions or firing questions, if they have an employee that's not behaving appropriately, or some of these new drug laws that are out, or the
That
legal,
is
the
useful.
legal
Yeah.
marijuana issue is, things like that, and they
Yes.
will be able to quote you out of the handbooks, where you can find that and document, and they will be able to walk you through what you need to do in order to save your business money and not get fined or sued
That is
in the long run. Yeah,
incredible.
it is, and that's one of our great assets that we have that we've been able to provide to our employers.
We've seen an influx in the last couple of years of companies, national names
Hmm.
moving into a logistics center,
Yes,
whatever,
that's all.
and needing 400 employees at
Yes.
a time. Um, you offer some sort of job fairs and things for
Oh
these
yeah,
people, do
yeah.
you?
Now we do. We offer either recruitment assistant, which is more like an individual company. So when we do even large recruitments, we can do recruitments for one person, and we can do recruitments again, like you said, for hundreds of people. And we have facilities that we use. The America's Job Centers all have spaces like large conference rooms and large rooms and staging areas for us to create a recruitment with thousands of people that show up. And so we work with the employer. We set up, we as in the workforce development department, we set up, we advertise, we screen. All the employer has to do is show up and hire candidates. So we've made it as easy as we possibly can for companies to come in, especially large companies like Amazon and QVC and companies like that need hundreds of people all at once, and we're able to provide them with multiple recruiting spaces and as well as coordinate those and assist the companies, and that takes a lot of time off of that company, and it's a very valuable resource to people who need to recruit. We have several distribution centers that just they use us. They use the workforce development departments as their sole recruitment source because they know that, one, we're free, two, we're well organized, and three, we get people there and people who want to work. So it creates a great relationship for us, as well as being able to count on those companies when we need them to get people hired.
Finally,
So,
one quick question
mhm.
that frequently when employers move into the area from
Mhm.
outside, they would have questions on demographics, sort of thing. How old is the workforce? What
Yeah.
is the average wage? What is the level of union activity in the area? This sort of thing. Are you able to put them in touch with somebody who can provide this information to them?
Absolutely. Now,
Uh-huh.
some of the information we have at our fingertips, like the labor market information, we have access to that through either the state or other web-based sites that we can gather that information for. But we also have connections to our economic development agency here within
Uh-huh.
the county. So it's not just the labor market demographics, but if we have an employer who wants to move into the city, we can refer them, and they will hand feed them trying to get companies into the city, obviously. And so our economic development agency will partner with us if they get a
Yeah.
company and they want to know, what are the competitive wages, what does the market look like for employees, things like that. And so we reach out to, depending on the question, we have many resources to use on that, and employers themselves, because of the relationships we've created with the employers in our county, we've been able to call up a large distribution center, because we have one that wants to move in, and say, can they tour your place, can they pick your brain, so we use our relationships with other businesses as well to help companies that want to move into the area with some of the information that they have.
Lovely, very
Mhm.
useful to tout big names to other big names
Right,
because,
right.
well,
It always pays. Yeah.
they must know what's
Yeah.
going on, and you want to be in the club.
Right, right.
Look, these guys know something.
Absolutely. It always
It's
pays.
been fascinating, and I really would like to thank you for giving your
Absolutely.
time and letting the students know of these fantastic resources that there are out there for their clients
Right.
at no charge. So thank you very much, Shelley.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.